the gasp. I feel so naughty. I feel very mischievous. Good evening, everybody. How are we? How the devil are we? Welcome to Tales from the Fireplace with Mr. and Mrs. Deathly. But also, look who it is. I see you over there in the corner. You mischievous little beasts. Oh, this is very... I can't believe we all exist in the same room at the same time.
It's nice, isn't it?
Isn't it lovely?
Doesn't make
I'm
any
dressed
sense
for
to
the
me.
occasion.
Look at you all smart.
Fancy suit on. Fancy
Formal.
suit. Fancy suit. So, my music's missing. Hang on, wait. We need the spooky atmosphere music.
Oh.
Let me just wait. Wait.
Increase the spoopiness.
Wait.
Spoop it.
Get her spoopy.
There it is. Lovely. There's that satisfying cello. Doesn't feel right without the cello underneath it. Oh,
I've never felt like that's cello.
well, yes. Mrs. Deathly is monitoring the comments over in the corner, and there, of course, is David Deathly. I love that. Obviously, I'm always decked out in the old waistcoat and tie. David turns up in the waistcoat and tie, and Mrs. Deathly had nothing short of an aneurysm. And was just started running around the office going, I need a shirt and tie and a waistcoat. Otherwise, I'm not the
They're
same.
too big for me.
It was quite serious. It was a medical emergency.
Yeah. But you've succeeded in your quest, and you have found yourself.
I'm styling.
You are
Profiling.
looking very dapper over there. Very dapper. Oh, we're getting some people greeting David with some Welsh.
Oh
in
no.
the chat.
Themai David. Iawn, diolch.
How are we sounding? Nice. I've seen someone said nice and clear.
They're two words I'd use to describe us.
Nice.
Sandra Ballinger simply just wrote Edinburgh, David.
Yes.
That's accurate.
Correct.
Yes.
Well, actually, no, it's not, is it?
Not right now. No, not
Currently.
Not at the moment.
Currently not.
At the moment. Oh, I think this is going to get rowdy, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, that's absolutely
Yes.
going to fall. It's going to be an absolute shambolic, wonderful night of spooky madness and nonsense. And what a night of spooky madness and nonsense we have for you. We have, as always, a collection of spooky photos pulled forth from the book. Where's the book, Mrs. Deathly? Have you got the book over there? Where's the book?
Yeah.
The book is there.
There is.
Can we see the book? People were asking last time about the book. Like, where is
best
the
of
book?
Ghosts caught on film, the paranormal and the supernatural caught
It's a
on
wedge.
camera.
You could kill a person with that book.
And it is by
Thick as me, that.
Dr. Melvin Willen with Jim Eaton.
Ah,
Nice. Available from all good bookstores.
well, that's not entirely true.
And some bad
No.
ones.
It was from the big online bookstore. I'm sorry to say, support your local independent book retailer. But unfortunately, it was purchased from there. How will the graveyards of Edinburgh survive David's absence?
Probably a great deal better than they would if I were there.
People will be able to walk through them within
Unmolested.
unmolested, not in fear of their life.
Would you like to hear a ghost story? No.
No, I'm trying to go to McDonald's.
That's why my numbers are so small.
A Big Mac. No, I've got a story to tell you.
I don't even ask. I don't even warn them. I just start telling ghost stories at people as they're walking through and then demand payment.
Graham Wood says, he just got back from Paris, our 10th wedding anniversary. Apparently, the ghost tours in Paris are a rip-off. Oh. Well, I've never done that. I mean, on the list, maybe. Seems like a very long way for us to go to a ghost tour.
Oh,
Oh.
someone's ringing the
Hang on a
deathly-
minute.
The deathly phone.
Hang on a moment. Let's just... Oh, no, that's a worry. So sometimes what happens is, on nights like tonight, when we're not running a ghost tour, somebody will actually ring us at 8:10 and say, hello, where are you? And we'll say...
Do you want me to just do a tour? Shall I just nip out?
You want to run out and meet
I'll
them?
just nip
So
out
we
and
can
I'll just do a
then.
tour. Excuse me.
Mrs. Death is just going to answer the phone. And someone said, did you bring Jason? Right, okay. So, well, that's a horrible door sound. Let's talk briefly about... you've heard of the Mandela effect?
Yes.
You've heard about this, haven't you?
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, it's like that thing that happened but didn't happen in a Simpson sort of way. Like, what happened there?
It was Mad Alice.
Oh! What was going on with Mad Alice?
I don't know, because I got through to my phone.
Oh,
We'll find out later.
that's very strange. How peculiar.
How odd.
Mad Alice off of bloody Tour of York was just ringing us.
Eee.
How strange.
Oh, God.
Well, we'll find out what that was all about later on in the future, the past. Yes, people keep saying, they always say, how's Jason? It wasn't Jason, was it? It was Jordan.
It was Jordan.
Jordan. But
His name was Jordan.
So many people remember it
He's from Glasgow.
as Jason. He was not supposed to be in Edinburgh at the time, was he?
No.
It was in the time when people weren't supposed to be zipping around.
He wasn't meant to be in
Especially not with
Edinburgh.
bags full of
Certainly not with a bag full of
cans.
vitamin T. No. God bless him. I haven't seen him since. I always keep an eye out just in case.
There's always that distant roar of trouble banter. My lord, my lord. But yeah, that was was that the first one that you ran for us
It was, wasn't it?
in the height of the lockdown?
And Jordan turned up as if by magic.
Yes, Jordan. And you. I remember because obviously we worked together for a while. We used to work on the tour that shan't be named, shall we say?
Yes.
We knew when we started doing these virtual ones, we were like, David's the guy. He's the guy that we're going to get. But it was your handling of Jordan that absolutely solidified for me that you were the right choice, because I remember you actually did a fake ending to your tour.
I did.
Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much.
Don't go. Into the mic. Don't go. It's not really over. It's not really over.
There's more.
I'm getting rid of this mad, drunken man. Please stay. Don't leave me.
Before we crack on with the stories and the tales, we gave a collection of spooky photos and your stories. People are asking, is that a Marmite mug?
What, this mug?
That mug there?
This mug that I'm drinking.
Why, yes, it is.
Delicious coffee.
Delightfulness.
Marmoffy.
The Marmoffy. Marmot. Would you drink
Wow.
Marmite flavoured coffee?
Yeah, give it a go.
Yeah, I give it
There
a
we
crack
go.
once.
So before we get moving, I think everything should be working okay now. Let us know. I can't turn the microphones up any louder than this, but if the music is too loud, let me know as always, and I'll do some tinkering on the whole buttons and stuff and press some things. But for now, I'm going to leave you two alone for a brief moment, and I'm going to present to them the first ghostly story of the night. This one is accompanied by a photograph. Now, the picture is simply entitled The Headless Woman. So we're off to a strong start, quite frankly. And without further ado, here she is. Ooh, I'm just going to let that settle for a moment. Just going to let the dust, let the eyes settle on the photograph. Am I right, Mrs. Deathley? This is coincidentally at Edinburgh Castle.
Yes, that's why I chose it.
Excellent.
I know where that is.
Tell us. I feel like it's sort of a very natural segue into a further conversation.
It's in Edinburgh.
Good.
It's at the top of the Royal Mile. It's where I end most of my tours.
Yeah, the castle.
The doors to the castle. Yeah.
Yes, towards the castle. I remember you.
It's lovely.
You went and knocked on the castle one night after a tour. They didn't let you in, did they?
They didn't know. I was hoping they might let me in for a cup of tea, but
No, they wouldn't.
So
they wouldn't.
here's the
They don't like
information about the photograph. It was taken by Mike in the 1980s. Mike writes of this shot taken by his father on a visit to Edinburgh Castle in around the 1980s. I mean, it's such an 80s photograph. You've got the high-waisted grey trousers, the beige jacket, delicious. Mike's mother and sister can be seen sitting on a cannon.
oui.
Because if you're near a cannon, you're automatically going to, pretend it's your penis, aren't you?
You have to.
Yeah, there's no other choice.
Rowdy.
He reports that the print was found by chance when they were cleaning up the house after his mother's death. In fact, the figure is not necessarily headless. The transparent nature of her form makes it possible that her head is lost in the shadow of the stonework. There was a possibility that the image was caused by a double exposure, intentional or otherwise. Another suggestion might be that a person was standing in shot and then moved away during the exposure to leave a ghostly effect. However, the shape and the perspective seem wrong for that explanation. Neither does the figure resemble a chemical stain in processing or a lighting anomaly. The clothing does not seem to be consistent with what other people in shops were wearing, and the sleeves appear to be puffed. I love that. The sleeves appear to be puffed, and the figure may be wearing a long white tailcoat or a full dress. We are left with naught but a mystery, no hard evidence of a headless Victorian woman. So we've got a little sort of slightly closer image there as well. I'm just going to punch in a little bit. You can sort of see the shoulder there. The shoulder. A little bit of shoulder. Basically, I wanted you to enjoy the puffed sleeves. I do enjoy puffed sleeve.
Do love a puffed sleeve.
Not but a puffed sleeve.
Naught but a puffed sleeve.
What do you think about this?
Yeah.
I don't think it is a double exposure, because to do a double exposure like that, everybody else would have to stand still, wouldn't they? Isn't that how it works? On film? On a film camera?
On an old film camera, yeah.
In the 80s?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's no digital photography around in the...
In the
1980s.
80s.
In the 80s. There's no... it's a strange one, because again, sometimes people start talking about long exposure and stuff, and long exposure tends to happen as... when you've got your shutter open for longer time. If it was a longer exposure photograph, the image would be blurred. There are people obviously moving, turning. If you think about how much people turn and move and fidget inside of a second or so, if you've got the shutter gate open for more than a second, everybody's going to be soft and blurry and out of focus.
Because you'd have to get everybody in that shot. Stand still, all of you, stand still. I'm going to do a spook.
I find the framing odd because taking a photograph of that moment there, why would you leave so much negative space to the right hand side of the photograph? Coincidentally, just enough space for a spooky apparition to appear.
Alan Smith says the arms are too long.
They are long arms.
Oh God, they are long, aren't they?
I agree.
Maybe it's a policeman.
They've got
the long
lobster
arm of
claws.
the law.
Oh.
That reminds me
shouldn't
of
have invited me.
the story of here in York at College Street. The woman that I spoke to, the medium, the spiritualist, who described what the man had seen in 1987 with the long arm.
Oh, the little girl.
The arms stretching out, longer. That was an interesting coincidence. That's interesting.
Maybe the Headless Woman's after that little girl on the cannon.
I've just realised I've got your signs over here, Mrs. Deathley. What do you want me to? What do you think?
I'm gonna say.
I don't know what to think.
I'm gonna say. Oh. I'm gonna say nope.
A spooky nope.
Yeah.
You're something you're unsettled by it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like the way. I mean. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to give it a half nope.
Okay. Can I have a no?
Oh, no.
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 Yeah. I thought it's a nice one. It's a relatively calm
It
one.
looks like a person. It's see-through.
Selkie says, if the film wasn't wound on and a photograph was taken of an outfit displayed on a headless mannequin, you might have a very similar effect. True, that's a very precise series of circumstances.
If you'd been to somewhere where there where there was an 1890s dress on a headless mannequin and then immediately went up to the castle to take a picture of two people on a cannon.
I agree with the half exposure thing.
Yeah.
If you take a photograph and the film's not completely wound on, even if it's just like a moment, if it's a cheap camera, it might not necessarily, pinpoint the exact frames there.
I've done that. I have done that where there's been a lovely picture of something and then half a picture of me in an incriminating pose in a dark room.
Well, let's leave the picture of the headless woman behind for now, because we've got many to get through tonight. And we're going to now talk about the second picture. This is a photograph called Reaper at the Waterfall. I really like this one.
Yeah.
I really like this one.
You're welcome.
This atmospheric photograph was sent to the website ghoststudy.com. The picture was accompanied by the note. I'm not the person who actually took the picture. It was sent to me by a friend. The photo was captured in West Java? Would you say West Java? In Indonesia, at the bottom of Mount Gede. The photograph is of high school students who had a camp on the mountain. Despite the site operator appealing for anyone to provide evidence for or against the authenticity, nothing else is known about this picture. It was suggested, however, that the figure might be a part of the mountain's rock formation, since the texture was similar. The image of the Grim Reaper is a popular folklore, and in the minds of people throughout films and media generally, everyone cannot accept that such a character actually exists. And another possibility might suggest that a thought form is being created here, but why it would occur in this form and not on this occasion baffles me. I love that quiet ooh from over there in the corner.
I'm throwing out an immediate that's pareidolia on this one. I did it while you were drinking, so you didn't know I was saying it.
Immediate.
But I do just think it's how... Because if you look at the white line down the right-hand side of the Reaper, it goes behind the rock.
Oh, it does as well.
So I think that's just a bit of rock formation. I'd like to see another picture of that same waterfall.
Can we go there?
Right now.
Should we go there now and find out?
We'll be back in 8 hours, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how long it takes us to get to Indonesia. To walk, probably a bit longer than that, I would assume. I don't know. It's
I think it's very cool. It's very
I think
cool.
we've just landed on it. It is cool, but I think on this one, we've oh god,
Oh dear.
hurling
Technical
things violently to the
difficulties.
ground. I'm going to hold up the old. That's pareidolia.
I'm with you.
Those of you that don't know, pareidolia is a wonderful word. It basically means when you see things that aren't there, when you see a shape in a cloud that looks like a dog, or Jesus looking out of you from a slice of well-done toast.
It's Pazzy D.
That's Pazzy D.
That's Pazzy D.
Good old Pazzy D.
Point to Jackie Jordan, who said, "Looks like he just rocked up to take the picture."
I don't get it.
Swish.
You get it.
Now that you've pointed out The Rock, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, Death himself stalks the land at the base of Mount Gede. But now I'm like, oh, no, it's a shadow, isn't it? Yeah, that's water.
Yeah, a bit of water,
That's
and
water.
a bit of rock formation there.
That's water.
Just a wonderful coinky-dink, I think.
Coinky-dink.
Wonderful timing thing.
Also, the central child who's doing his Wallace and Gromit pose.
Reaper.
Ew, cracking cheese Reaper.
Oh, it is wonderful, though, whatever it is. You're quite right, Nick. Nick says, whatever it is, isn't it great? Yes, it absolutely is. A wonderful coincidence. Right, so very quickly, before we move on to our first audience story of the night, just a bit of a brief explanation about how tonight's working. Slightly different than usual. Normally when we do these things, we sort of say, pay what you feel, throw in what you like. And whereas the tip jar, as always, is open tonight, what we're looking for this evening is something slightly different. For those who've been following the Deathly Dark Tours for a while, you know that we've had a very strange couple of years and a very exciting couple of months. Last week, we, of course, won the Best New Business Tourism Award. Thank you. At the Visit York Award 2020. Wonderful to be out with so many amazing businesses thriving and just having a good time. And Mrs. Deathley and I felt like complete fakers and charlatans because we were dressed very smart and we got very drunk and we stole a very large amount of fruitcake from the evening. Probably about...
steal it. It was on tables that people had left.
Yeah, it was
rescued it.
Neglected. It was abandoned fruitcake.
You saved it.
While all that's been going on, we've also been nominated for the Tourism Superstar Award through Visit England, and that is a big event. You can vote for us. If you click on the information of this video, you'll find a number of links, including our virtual tip jar. You'll find a link to the voting page. All you have to do is basically click on that, click Dorian Deathly, click Submit, and you've registered to vote. You can do it, of course, and I say this very quietly, using any devices you have in the house, and should, coincidentally, one of those devices be connected to both 4G and Wi-Fi, you can also use both of those to submit a vote. Now, I wouldn't normally, ask for that sort of thing, but we're going up against a really wonderful company who are currently in first place. They're a little bit bigger than we are. Of course, the Deathly Dark Tours is the three of us, really.
It's vast.
It's us three. But
we're a huge Titanic undertaking. Yeah.
So every vote you can do, and I think you can also vote every few days as well, should you feel the urge to do so. And the more that we get, the better chances we have of winning, etc., etc. And finally, and I'll mention this a bit later on, for any of you that are interested in a book that I've written, the Deathly Dark Tales Kickstarter ends tomorrow at 12 noon UK time. So if you want to pre-order the book, the first edition, this is it. This is your final sort of half a day to do so. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, a little bit more. Anyway, our first audience story of the night, sent in by David Rowlinson. Here we go. So all this, I'll read this out, and then you guys can sort of, we'll dissemble it, we'll pull it apart.
We'll assemble it.
And we'll decide if David Rowlinson experienced something supernatural, or whether he's a terrible charlatan and a liar. He's definitely not, I just want to stress
That's really
that.
He's a delightful chap.
Delightful chap.
Delightful chap. Kind to his mother.
So here we go. The following story is from a few years ago, and I tried my best to tell it as accurately as I can remember it. I've always been fascinated by ghosts and the paranormal, but I'm very sceptical when it comes to my own personal experiences. I'll usually lean towards scientific explanations for any odd occurrences, but there is still one that I can't explain. My dad has overseen the restoration of an old cotton mill in the town of Lee near Manchester, with many independent businesses now moving in. And as the mill was opening, paranormal groups did some overnight investigations, and I tagged along with one of them on the off chance that something would happen. The group I was with had all the equipment you'd expect a paranormal investigation to have, and set up their base in the mill's engine house. Other than a few small temperature blips, very little seemed to be happening, but then one of the team decided to try some sound recording. They got everything ready and asked for a few seconds of total silence as they switched their machine on. The machine recorded for several seconds before we began speaking again. And after 20 minutes or so, we decided to play the recording back to see if anything had been picked up. Something had. I really nailed the drama on that bit, didn't I? I feel like really brought it down. In those few opening seconds, when everyone had been quiet, we heard the voice of a man with a strong Lancastrian accent say, can either of you two do a Lancastrian accent?
Oh, not in a way that's not offensive.
No, I'll just use my own accent. A strong Lancastrian accent said, right, let's get to it. The voice was very faint, but clear enough to hear what was said. The recording was a new digital file that hadn't been recorded over any existing files. We had made a point of staying silent as the recording started, and the rest of the mill was empty. I never felt uncomfortable or settled, but I cannot explain what or who spoke those words that I hear. So obviously I know a fair bit about digital sound recording. I'm used with all this right now, sound equipment and such like that. Yeah, you can't overlay a digital file. It just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? You can't, not like an analog tape where you could have almost like an echo of something left behind. If you format a memory card, that data is, without recovery software, is gone. If you record over something, it's gone. You don't get two files merging on each other. Interesting.
Not even a 90s sci-fi movie hacker can do that.
No.
And they can do anything
No.
without a mouse.
Johnny Miller couldn't bring this
No.
back.
I don't get the reference.
Well, there you go. There's a film for us to watch.
But I really want to hear let's... What did he say?
Right,
let's get to
Get to it. I really want to hear it.
The only Lancashire accent, I've been watching lots of Peter Kay recently. So the only thing I could do it in is in a Peter Kay voice, and I feel like that wouldn't
Is
really...
that where he's from?
I think, yeah, he's from...
Okay.
Where's he from? He's from Burnley, isn't he?
I don't know.
I don't think it would convey the right gravitas. I feel like it should be somebody with like a gruff. A whiskered Victorian
voice.
Miller. Right, let's get to it.
Well, there's not really a great dissemble in that one. It's just a good story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't know what
Interesting
happened
story.
after that.
No, I like that they never felt uncomfortable nor unsettled. They can't explain who or what spoke the words I hear. We've had a few incidents of this before where we've done recordings at certain places. We've done podcasts and things in here. When we've been recording the audiobooks that we put out on our Patreon, shameless plug, we sometimes get little artifacts in there, little sounds and things that weren't there. And particularly now, that's very strange because we have a proper little booth built up here with the whole, foam walls, like a little padded asylum. So it's very strange to get outside. Peter Kay, people are losing. He's from Bolton. Is Peter Kay? People are losing their mind in the chat that PeterAy is from Bolton. He's from Bolton. He's from Bolton.
Well, I
damn it.
don't know, do I?
How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you?
How
dare you? I live in a wardrobe underneath a flyover. I don't know these things.
But not living in a bin around the back of a bus yard like we used to do.
Those are the days.
Brilliant. Thank you, David, for sending that over to us. Really, really wonderful, and providing me with a nice moment of drama.
I'd poo a little if that happened to me.
Yes.
I'd poo a little.
We're going to hand over to David now. So we're going to tonight.
my show now.
All three of us tonight are going to share a
David's
spooky
show
story, a
now.
spooky experience, and the first one tonight is going to be the man David himself.
It's my turn.
I yield
David's turn.
to you.
Right. Things are going to change round here. We're going to make some changes. First of all, trousers, strictly forbidden.
Well, they're already off.
I can't get up. We'll be banned. Smeared in all kinds of things. Right. I've got a lovely encounter. For everybody. But it's not my encounter. It's a little vintage encounter from my grandfather.
Oh, I like that.
Yes. So, my grandfather, many, many years ago, was a stoker in a gasworks. So he had to shovel coal for some reason. I don't know how gasworks work, or worked. I don't know. I know gas is involved. Probably. Anyway, one night he was at work. He was working a night shift. And he was shoveling away. And all of a sudden, a man came in.
Was that unusual?
Yes, it was unusual. It was, Didi. I'll tell you for why. Because it was 11 o'clock at night, and it was a gasworks. And it was a smartly dressed man wearing a black pinstripe suit and a lovely hat. He'd never met him before. And this man came in and said, my car has broken down, and I've got a puncture. and I need to know if there's a garage nearby that'll be open. And my grandfather said, yes, there is. It's about 1.5 miles up the road. You go that way, go out, gave him directions, walk up there, don't go that way. Don't go in that direction. You walk through the sea if you go in that direction. Go the other way because that's a hill. You can walk up hills, you can't walk through the sea. And the man said, okay, thank you very much indeed. We probably didn't say okay. We said, splendid, thank you ever so much. Well-dressed, well-spoken man walked out through the back door. And my granddad just kept on working, carried on shoveling coal. And then after a couple of seconds, he thought, oh, hang on, he's gone the wrong way. You can't go out that way. That's the backyard. There's a 20-foot brick wall around the backyard. It's where we keep the coal. So he went out to tell him he'd been a silly sausage, and he had to go out the front door. It's a gasworks. He went out, the man had gone.
Through the wall.
There's no way he could have gone over the wall. He'd simply vanished. Simply vanished. He phoned the garage. No one of that description turned up. There was no car broken down anywhere nearby with a puncture. He was never seen or heard from again.
Oh,
so he was convinced that he'd met the devil that night.
Oh, that's
a leap.
That's a leap.
That's a leap.
The devil's card broken.
Satan! What was he like? He was lovely.
It's very nice.
Sharply dressed, polite, nice shoes.
Oh,
Tendency to walk through walls.
Tendency to walk through walls, but that is my little family experience.
beautiful.
Love it.
We've had a small technical note from Karen who says, can people please talk into the microphone rather to each other?
No.
Sorry, Karen.
Well, there you have it.
No.
There you have it. It's do you know? Seriously, it's an odd thing to do, isn't it? Because we spent the first.
It is an odd thing to do.
We probably spent the first 4 or 5 of these with me constantly berating Mrs. Deathley because she would sort of drift and come over, and I'd be like, "No, it doesn't."
Oh, he still does it when I
It's
do.
strange.
When I've
Well, it's
been
because I'm used to
recording
having a little lav
Clippy
mic,
boy,
a little
yeah.
clippy boy on there for my tours, and I'm not used to having
People
a.
often ask me. People say, "What do you?
This
what do you-
gentleman.
What do you spend the money on?" So I've actually, all the money you get from it's like all the money, like
Drugs.
Like we get thousands and thousands of pounds for doing these things, and
Coal.
essentially, I'd say a good 60%, 70% of the money that we've made from the fireplace over the years has definitely gone on the stuff that is currently surrounding us, just to get it to a point where it sounds as rich.
Because you can't see around here, but
There's
it
a
is
lot going on,
It
isn't
is like there's vintage TV. There's this cathode ray tube TV and a load of VHSs, but it's like Star Wars
over there,
everywhere
all
else.
the gadgets that we use for our various
Colourful things and devices that go "Whoop," and that kind of thing.
No, everyone said you'll be able to hear everybody, but I think it's if you I don't know. I was just passing a message on. Don't shoot the messenger. Thank you, David. That was a very nice. That's a very nice story. Obviously, all lies, but still. Oh no!
It's my grandfather you're talking about. How dare you? I'll come find you. I'll find you. I will find you. I will find you, and I will give you a stern talking to. And then I'll probably give you a packet of biscuits or something, because I don't like to turn up empty-handed. It's a Welsh thing.
Right, it's time for another audience story. Someone said, Jenny Priest, don't lie, you spend it on fruitcake. I'll have you know, we steal our fruitcake.
No, we don't pay for fruitcake.
We've not paid for fruitcake in 25 years.
If you'd like to pay, if you want to leave a tip in the form of fruitcake, the address is
As long as it's not got any of those glazed cherries in it. No time for them.
I wondered why you'd left that bit of the fruitcake.
Yeah, I don't like
I
the
ate
glazed
it, by
cherries.
the way.
Second
I like
audience
those.
story. We're definitely going to be on air till 4:30 in the morning at this rate. I love it. The second story tonight is called, which it was sent to us by someone who is simply known as the Grey One. Now it opens with a complimentary paragraph. I've enjoyed listening to Tales from the Fireplace and your other spooky content over the last few months, and I thought it time I should share a story I was told some 20 years ago. Whilst I am very much a skeptic, I've always loved the idea of having experienced something that is hard to explain rationally for me, yet to have it happen, I may add, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So this is entitled The Visitor. In the late 1990s, after a night out with my girlfriend, we returned to her parents' house to grab supper and watch TV. When we arrived back, we found the living room light still lit and her parents up talking. We exchanged pleasantries on the night out as we had been to the cinema. I can't remember what the film was, but at that point, young courting couples consumed many movies as part of the dating ritual. But I suspect it must have been a fright fest such as The Ring, Fallen, and Sixth Sense, which sparked conversation on the supernatural. Suddenly, out of the blue, the girlfriend's mother exclaimed, "Oh, I've seen a ghost before," while the rest of the family just stood looking shocked if they'd never heard the story. I love this sentence. Another log was added to the crackling fire. We topped up our drinks and sat attentively waiting for the story to begin. I scoffed at the notion of her mum's ghostly experience and sat here waiting. We're to be rationally hearing an explanation to dismiss it away as nonsense. It turned out her mum had trained as a nurse in the late 1960s and early 70s. As part of her training, she spent time in an emergency geriatric and childcare environment. Whilst working a night shift in a ward that dealt with very ill children, she settled in to watch over the ward one evening. The night went relatively uneventful until around 2 to 3 a.m. when she went to make a drink. Upon returning to the office, she proceeded to complete some paperwork. Occasionally glancing up from her notes, she caught what she described as a dark shape ominously standing out by one of the cots. She immediately got up and entered the ward. The ward was dimly lit, but she realised that the shape was in fact the outline of a man. And as she moved closer, she noticed that the man had his back turned to her. She began to address the visitor. Excuse me, visiting hours are finished, you need to leave." There was no response. She was now only a few feet away from the man. She asked again, "Hello, can I help you?" At this point, she knew something wasn't right, felt uneasy. She could now clearly see the dark-clothed figure of a man stooped over directly looking into the cot. She was now standing right behind the man, not knowing what to do. The man suddenly turned to face her. And at this point, she paused, telling the story, and said, "I don't really know how to explain what I saw." She simply said the man had no face, no features, nothing, but was looking directly at her. She gasped, turned to shout for the matron in charge, and when she turned back, the man had simply vanished without a trace. No sight, no sound. She ran out of the ward to find the matron, and when she eventually found her, the matron could tell something was wrong. "What on earth is the matter?" she said. "A man has just been looking into one of the cots, and when I challenged him, he disappeared." The matron kindly smiled, didn't look shocked, and said, "Don't worry, my love. We've just had another one." Proceeded to tell her that it happens to us all. They just had a visit. After the story was finished, she said that when she was caring for the elderly, 2 a.m. is a strange time, having spent a lot of time around ill and dying patients. She had experienced many strange happenings, each one hard to explain, but the black figure was one that stayed with her. At the time, it was a great fireside story, and I definitely had no rational explanation. This is a genuine story. The grey, well, it was called the grey chap, the grey something, is a genuine story exactly as it was spoken to me. The grey one. Stresses out the grey chap. The grey chap.
Really?
We've got some big heavy notes happening in the chat right now.
Some spicy notes.
Coming back over to you, friends.
Spicy notes.
My hair's went
Before
on
we
it.
I didn't like that. Ooh.
Before we proceed, someone in the someone in the chat just got seemed to get a little bit agitated that where's the fireplace? They demanded to know. Where's the fireplace? Because I assume this is called Tales from the Fireplace.
Oh, it's there.
The answer is
the fireside.
There's
There
well, there are two. You're sat in one there.
Yeah.
That is the old chimney that runs up, and there was another one here behind where I am at the moment. This is a little basement that we have in an undisclosed location in New York, and it's a basement of an old building. This was it used to be a butcher's. And we believe that this used to be the storeroom. So the little alcove I'm in now is likely where the meat hooks would have been placed to keep the meat nice and chilled, and where you're sitting is the lovely fireplace. So that's where the fireplace is, quite frankly. And now we're moving on. How do you feel about that story?
I've set fire to my trousers just to make absolutely sure. That gave me I got little pricklies. It was
Also, there was a weird noise in the
that was
fireplace TV.
that was uncalled for.
If you should have
Frankly,
had the
that was
camera on
uncalled
us
for.
when you were
Someone
reading the
asked
story,
for the
'cause,
fireplace. Someone said, "Where's the fireplace?" And the fireplace was like, "I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm behind you."
That's that one. That one's what there's because you get a lot of black figure stories, don't you? Like the man in black is a very common thing that's seen, especially around beds, like in bedrooms, and I think it's often people who can't get out of their bed will see. You know, people, elderly people, and people who are sick. So I think it's unusual that it's somebody looking after ill and elderly people, because it's usually people who in the bed will see a dark figure.
When I grew up in Scarborough, and a lot of my friends worked in care homes.
Look at you now.
Look at me now. Look at where I've landed now. And it's true. People I know who worked in hospitals, worked in care homes. You know, they do say that the 2 to 4 a.m. hour, those 2 hours is a very strange period, because sadly that's when a lot of people do pass away. They fall asleep, and then that's how I'd like to go. I'd like to literally climb into bed, age 97 years old, and just go, that'll do. No.
Stabbed to death through the heart by a jealous lover.
Jesus, man.
That's mine. On satin sheets.
Oh, okay.
at the age of 90, probably 97
Yeah,
as
you
well.
want to be, you give us a few more decades.
Yeah, I want it to be proper, the jealous love will then hold my hand and be like, I'm so sorry, I had no choice. And I can oh no, dear boy.
That's a wonderful story. Thank you very much for the grey one for sending it in. So we're going to move on now. We're going to move on to our next photograph. This is, this opens with it's not that one, it's this one here. There we go. This opens with a brilliant paragraph. I love this. So this is called The Extra Figure at the Fire Station. And I love this. We do not, says the book, normally associate fire stations with paranormal phenomena. And therefore, it came as quite a surprise when Maurice Grosse was sent. That is the most 1970s name I've ever heard. Maurice Grosse.
Maurice
Was
Grosse.
sent a complete set of photographs from the fire station at Market Deeping in Lincolnshire.
Oh, I've been there.
Now, only the last shot showed the extra figure on the right inside the station doorway. The photographs were taken on the 26th of January 1986 from approximately 25 metres, with 5 to 6 second gaps between the shots. Mr. Adams of the fire service stated that there was no one else in the station at the time, and this has been verified by all present. One can discount fraud, lighting effects, or developing anomalies here. The figure does appear to be very solid, and I wonder whether it may just be simply an extra person who accidentally came into view and whom the photographer had either forgotten about or not seen. Photographic blindness. I've never heard that phrase before.
It actually says photographer blindness.
It might be an administrative worker, cleaner, friend, or even a member of the public. There's a lot of guesswork happening here. The figure appears to be holding something in the right hand, wearing a white blouse or shirt. It has been suggested to me that it might have been a female worker with a handbag about to go off home. Despite interest from local and national television as well as the press, no reasonable answer has been found. Whoa. Let's go in a little closer, shall we? Let's see.
Closer.
I think that it looks like Princess Diana. I think it looks like a lady holding a handbag. Yes, indeed. But why has she got a trailing arm?
Yeah, it's... yeah.
That's why I recognised Maurice Grosse. Maurice Grosse was the paranormal investigator for Enfield Haunting, and of course. for the Battersea Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maurice Grosse was
Yes.
yes. Oh, we're gonna do a death, when we bring back the Deathly Dark podcast at some point in the future. We keep saying next week, but it's never happened. We're definitely going to do an entire episode of spooky stories, and of course lots of the tales around about good old Maurice Grosse.
I don't know. I think it looks like somebody with a bath towel over their shoulder.
Toga.
Toga.
Or
Ooh.
it could be somebody holding like a big bouquet of flowers. But it's definitely... I'd say it's something really there.
I've even gone
Something
closer.
there. It's
I've gone
something
closer.
there.
Yeah, we've zoomed in on
We've
ours.
zoomed.
Oh,
It is.
have you done the
Yeah.
zoom?
It is definitely something that's in the shot. Like that's not a trick of the light or anything. There's too much. There's shadow and light and.
Do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the photograph that our intern found. Dolores?
It was Daphne.
Daphne. There's been so many of the D's over the years. Yes, there was a... She found that wonderful photo of the gentleman in all the flat caps and the moustaches, and there was that one photograph, that one face in the middle. And I don't have it to hand, but it was a brilliant photograph. And there was that one little short man in the middle of the group that I found this. Paula Arsdale says, fire and rescue stations are notoriously haunted. I would have thought that as well. It's just such an odd statement to make it such a no. As you push up the glasses, as you'll know, fire stations are notoriously unhaunted.
Of course, fire stations.
What are we leaning into there? I genuinely I think it's just someone. I think it's like a admin staff who's just
I
like
think
wandered
it's one
down
of
and
those
gone,
things.
and then walks away.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
sorry.
if they found out what it was, they'd be like, oh, of course.
Somebody. Oh, it's Gary. Oh, it's Gary.
It was Phyllis popping down for the lunch.
Yeah.
The Princess Di impression.
She was coming out going, guys, have you not, the alarm's been going for 4 hours. There's a house over
That
on
cat's still.
Mull Lane that's literally burned to the ground. People have died. They're like, no, we've got photographs to take. Do you understand?
My favourite thing about this photograph, of course, is the 2 rows of silver buttons on the second guy from the left, and the proper fireman Sam style uniforms that they're wearing. Like that is
I love the way that it says it could just be a female worker going home with her handbag.
a
Like,
woman.
She wouldn't be in the picture.
Why would a woman be in the photograph?
Glenn Myers has just asked, have we thought about doing any investigations in any strange old haunted houses and such. Now, we've done a couple. We've done Antique Centre in York. We've done 30 East Drive. The main issue is they're often very expensive to get into. Although, we are going to be reading out a story later on from Ryan Hallows from Other Side Paranormal Research. They've invited us to go along with them on the next paranormal investigation that they do when we're not running a tour. So obviously, we run walking tours, spooky walking tours every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Second shameless plug of the night. So the next time that they run an event on a Monday, Tuesday, or a Thursday, we've been invited to go along with them, which I'm very excited about. Before we move along, I'm just going to very shamelessly, one more time, I'm going to mention the Kickstarter that we're currently running for our book. My book, it's a book I've written, it's called The Deathly Dark Tales of York. It's a little square book about yay big. It's a collection of very strange, weird stories. Some are ghost stories, some are very odd stories, mostly kind of odd. Someone read a couple the other day, said they were a bit Tim Burton-y, which I thought was quite a nice compliment. I took that, a kind of compliment. So I would say it's a sort of mixture. If anyone knows the UK author Robert Rankin, I'm very heavily influenced by Robert Rankin. You've got ghostly stories in there, such as the Christmas one I wrote about the whole Krampus thing. I read it out on Fireplace a few months ago. My favourite one so far, I think, is called Pop, that I wrote. And it's a sort of it's a ballad to the misery of walking out with your bins at night and accidentally stepping on a snail with bare feet.
Oh,
And it's that misery of the wet pot between the toes. And oh no. I also am a big fan of Bad Jam. Bad Jam is basically, again, they're very sort of personal experience stories. It's that sort of that misery of when you open up a jar of jam and there's a green fern on top of it, and you kind of question, is this all right?
can I scrape it?
Can I go down an inch deeper, and will the below the surface jam be fine? And it's that gamble. If you have enjoyed any of the weird spookiness that I have, you'll probably enjoy this book. And the only way to get your order of it, the first edition, signed, inscribed to you, all the people who go in through the Kickstarter get their names in the book as well in hard print. And of course, a little inscription at the beginning. I'm excited. We're excited. We hit our target in one day, which was brilliant. And as I talk now, we've now tripped away. Are 300% funded. I think I figured out though the books had probably cost about sort of £15. I think for the book, and it's like £3-4 for postage. I think we figured out that I will make profit wise about £1.20 on every book that I've sold. But it was never about that. It was about having the ability to make the book, which I'm very excited about.
It's not about the money. It's about the ghosts.
Let's move on to our next spooky photograph. This one is entitled The Casino Ghost. Oh, I love that Mrs. Deathley made an open... No, it's horrible, isn't it?
Nope.
Is that
Absolutely horrible.
is that me?
Is that you?
In the background?
What were you doing? Why are you in a casino? What were you doing in a casino?
You don't need to know.
Why didn't you invite me?
I have to take you everywhere.
I'm a lucky mascot.
It's horrible. I don't like this one. I really, really don't like this one.
That's why we have to plug so much. Because you've spent all the money on
closer.
blackjack and slot machines.
I do not like this one.
I don't like to look at it.
It's very unsettling.
It's her smile. In fact, she's just so happy and smiley and
Just block the right bit out.
Whoa.
The lady smiling.
Someone in the chat said, "Is that you, Mrs. D?" I mean, you don't often backcomb your hair quite so furiously. Lovely backcombed hair.
taking a closer look. It might be me.
In true horror stories, though, I once had my hair backcombed because in possibly the strangest moment of my theatrical acting career, I once appeared on the Clothes Show.
What?
With that Tim fella. Was it Tim that was
Tim?
on the Blue Peter? The chap that got in trouble for being
naughty
on air, shall we say?
Yes.
And I was about 19 years old, modelling clothing for a ski sportswear.
Dorian, how did I not know this?
I've got many secrets in my. I had a very long and interesting life.
so
I'm
many
actually 98 years old. I've actually
Wow.
lived. This is my
That's
fourth.
not what it
At this point, it's my fourth regeneration.
Can we scroll down a bit? I just don't want.
You just don't
Can we
want
just scroll down? I just don't want to see it anymore. It's just that's enough.
It's just horrible, isn't it? I'm going to go back to it one more time, but there it is.
Oh, no, stop it.
The back here. Richard Bacon. Someone said yes. It was
Richard
It was
Bacon.
Richard Bacon.
Oh,
Good old
he's from
Richard Bacon.
Mansfield.
Is
I
he?
should know this because a friend of mine looks exactly like Richard Bacon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
you know what I'm
does.
talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Definitely gets mistaken for Richard Bacon all the time. It's not a face, it's someone's back with a yellow shirt and an orange skirt. Right, I'm probably the most scientific, cynical one out of all of us, and I'm the one that kind of always looks for an explanation. I can't see that in the slightest. I can't really
I see an orange kettle with
An
some
orange kettle?
steam coming out of the top.
Now you said that, I can see an orange kettle with steam coming out the top.
Well, also,
I can see a
little bit
face.
like my Auntie Sheila.
His face, creepy, horrible face.
Creepy, horrible face.
Creepy, horrible, creepy, nasty
At this
face.
point, it's definitely time to move on. Let's leave the casino goes behind. It's getting a hard note from all three of us, isn't it?
I hate that.
Mrs. Deathley, what does it get? What do you get?
Oh no, I know Pit, but
You know
also
Pit?
I'm pretty sure it's
And
Parado.
David, what are we saying?
Nope.
It's a cold hard nope.
Nope.
It's a cold hard nope.
Passionate, moist nope.
I'm going to read out the third audience story now. This is from Brian Hallows. Brian Hallows runs a wonderful organisation called Other Side Paranormal Research. He's one of our patrons. He's been on our tour a number of times. We end up chatting for a long time after all of our tours. He's a wonderfully enthusiastic chap about ghostly goings on. If you are into your spooky stuff, go support them. They're on YouTube. You can go check out their channel. It's quite a new channel. But their content is very good. It's very, very good. It's very high production value. It looks good, sounds good. And I don't ever say that lightly. So
Yeah.
there's Other Side Paranormal Research. Go find them. So I'm going to leave the camera on YouTube for this bit as well, as I read it out, so we can see your reactions. So here we go. I'm sending you this experience I had in York at Bootham boarding school. I was working there and needed the loo. The toilets were located under the grand staircase of the school where old portraits of headmasters are located. I went into the toilet and there was already a man standing in the right-hand cubicle. So I went into the left one. We both left our cubicles at the same time and casually I said, "All right." He said, "Hello." We washed our hands at the same time. I finished before he did. I dried my hands at the hand dryer, which was directly behind the sinks. As I went to leave, I checked behind me, as I always hold the door for people, and the man had disappeared. At this stage, I wasn't suspicious due to there being another door in the room. However, I left, and as I walked past one of the portraits, I noticed in particular a portrait of the man I had just spoken to. I noted the date on the portrait was in the 1940s. Safe to say, I well and truly papped myself, and I never used those toilets again.
He must have had a bit left if he'd just been to the lavatory and then managed to embarrass his trousers. Is my first thought there.
A little bit banked in the tank.
Might I say, for a start, I've actually been in that building
You have.
and in those toilets, in fact. That sounds dodgy, but I think it's the same one. Because I have a friend who used to work there. And yeah, I won't say the reason that we were there because I don't want them to get in trouble just in case it was not allowed. But yeah, they are creepy, those toilets. Proper creepy. And I've got some pictures of them on my Facebook somewhere.
What, of the toilets?
Of the toilets, yeah.
Jackie Jordan says, "What a polite ghost to wash their hands."
But didn't use the dryer.
No.
Maybe the dryer wouldn't have existed in the 1940s. Pum pum pum.
Okay, so let's talk about this because I think there's always he noted the portraits before he went into the toilet. So there's a possibility that he saw a portrait and then subconsciously kind of like got a bit confused and thought that a real man in the toilets looks like it, and then when he came out he was like, "Oh, that was the man in the toilets." But I'm tempted to say it is
Weirdly, so this building that we're in now, obviously alas, we can't disclose where we are because we did once quite early on, and there were a couple of incidents where people sort of strangely turned up and wanted to come in, and it was so horrible and awkward that we've sort of and in a way it's quite sexy as well to have a secret location.
Location.
You don't know where we are. But so where we are in the basement, the toilets here are 3 floors up. Mm-hmm. It feels like 100 floors up at the end of a night. That's the only time, aside from the incident with the coin that fell out the stairs, that I've talked about more than enough times on these things to not do it again. Going up to the toilet is the only time I ever feel a bit like, oh no. There's a strange thing. It's a very old building. There's a picture frame upstairs where they've preserved some of the wallpaper from the very early 1900s.
Oh, that's quite cool.
And they've basically cut it away with a scalpel, with a Stanley knife, and then they've glass framed over the top of it to preserve the print. And they basically say the finest, most original wallpaper. And it's so odd because it's just not in keeping with the rest of the building. The rest of the building is very newy, modern, plasterboardy. It's built as a bunch of offices, but then there's this one little bit where this old wallpaper is, and for some reason on a night when I walk past it, I do get a very strange. Stone tape, they say. The old analogous recording of the dead. Perhaps something is imprinted in that old wallpaper. Mm-hmm. But now the wallpaper is so small, it's become super focused.
Are you suggesting that the lavatory in the school has recorded this man going for a cracker?
Well, if he was a frequent crackerer, if he went in there to do his the morning drop,
or a luxurious sit down wee,
if you don't like your job, let's face it,
maybe he died in there.
Like
this has taken on an entirely dark form. Someone said, was there an incident in the shower when you first moved into that house? Interestingly, we're not in our house right now. A lot of people think this is our house, which is not. It's not. Although we have said that when we next move, we need to ensure that whatever house we get has an extra bit that we can build this in.
Yes.
So we can lose this. This is a lovely place, but really these days it simply serves as to do these things, for me to come down and basically have a cup of tea before my walking tours. When we move again down the road, we're going to make sure we have a basement that we can build this in. But now this is, we're about 4 miles away from our house, something like that. I don't want to give any further away in case they come find us. Anyway, moving along. It's Mrs. Deathley. It's time for your recent encounter.
I think a lot of people already know about my recent encounter.
Well, we'll have it again, nevertheless.
I did share it on Patreon, I think.
You did, yes.
I don't think I told about it on The Fireplace.
I don't think you did.
But I would say it was about November that it happened.
Yes.
Last November. So after a tour, because I don't do the tours. I don't know if people know this, but I run the behind the scenes, and Dorian always does the tours on his own unless it's really busy, and then I'll come along to make sure people don't join or leave unexpectedly. Anyway, after the tour, I will wait sometimes near the old prison at the bottom of Clifford's Tower for Doz to finish the tour and then walk over to the car. Usually there's lots of taxis around that area and I have to join a queue at the back. But on this occasion it was just me parked there and it was really dark. For reference, where the magic ringing singing tree is, it's there. And I was just messing about on my phone, playing a little game that I used to have that I had to delete because it got addictive. And I was out of the corner of my eye and ear, if you can hear something out of the corner of your ear, I heard like tomfoolery, just a little bit of trouble banter, and I thought, oh, there's some kids. It was nothing to me. And it went past the car. And then I looked up in the rear view mirror and didn't see anyone that it could have been. And in the wing mirror. And there was nobody there. There was an older couple in the far distance that were walking arm in arm really slowly. So I don't think that would have come from them. And it really properly creeped me out.
Yeah, you were in a state when I got to the car.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always
feel like you don't believe me though when I tell you these things.
No, I do.
You're like, ooh. But
so
then...
I've recently
Ooh, drive the car.
I've been talking a lot on our Patreon. Because if you don't know, as well as the Facebook, we have a Patreon. If you really enjoy this sort of stuff, you can join, and there's loads more. We do. I do a number of readings. I do like short stories, long stories. I've been reading Dracula recently. Just posted like the seventh hour of Dracula. It's a long book, but we also talk about. I also talk a lot about first-hand experiences, and I talk about the differences between ghosts and hauntings. And I think there's a very obviously the supernatural is a very fluid science, and that's what I kind of love. And I have this whole thing of called the Guild of Spookology. I call it is that kind of more of an academic approach to the supernatural. And that's why over the lockdowns I completed a couple of diplomas online. That's right, I've got a couple of actual qualifications now in parapsychology, just so I can understand. I mean, I say qualifications; they're literally things that have been sent off the internet. It's fine. They count. Just so I can have more of an explanation of these things. And yeah, we've been talking a lot recently about on Patreon a lot about the difference between ghosts and hauntings. And I always get asked all the time, have I ever seen a ghost? I get it all the time. And no, I've never seen a ghost, with the exception of something that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. It's my turn from my experience. Other than that, I had a lot of very, very strange goings on and such. But no, I believed you. I do believe you. I believed you. You do feel foolish, though. I know people, when people share ghost stories with me after the tours, because I have to do my walking tours and people want to have I always invite people to come have a chat. I often don't leave the final. If tours finish at 9:30, I often don't get away till 10 o'clock because I stop and chat to people. And I love to chat to people. People will share with me their ghostly stories. And I can tell that they're always a little bit...
I just want to say I know because I'm waiting for you in the car.
Whilst being haunted by ghosts of children laughing at you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mrs. Deathley.
I don't like that at all. No. I think it's because it's children.
They made me get tears in my eyes.
Oh, no.
I didn't cry, but I was like, I know.
So I'm going to share now this is right. This is a
smell terrible.
This is a very subtle. This is a very subtle photograph. Okay, this next photograph is very subtle. You're going to have to really work hard to see the ghost. Okay, so here we go. Really going to have to stretch your imagination to see the ghost in this photograph. It's a big stretch of the imagination. Mrs. Deathley, I'm gonna let you read about this one.
Okay.
Because you read it earlier on, and quite frankly, I don't know why, but you telling it's adorable.
Is it because I was dictating it so that it would type out and I didn't have to type
sounds. Some stories just sound better in your voice, and this is one of them.
Comma.
So let's have it.
Okay. Have they got the picture?
They have.
Have you got it? Do you see it?
They've got the picture.
I bloody love this.
Can you see the picture?
So, with simulacra, we always need to maintain a balance between those to provoke serious thoughts and those that, however startling they may be, are open to a humorous interpretation. This picture is an obvious example of the latter. It was taken in Hocking Hills, Ohio, USA, and subsequently sent to the website ghoststudy.com. I'm going to have to check that out. The comparative size of a figure in front of this ice formation indicates the ghost is quite a giant. It also looks just the way a fun ghost should look. One can almost hear it go. Boo.
I love it. I love it. So simulacra, if you don't, it's not that similar from pareidolia in a way. It's that seeing a similarity between things. Obviously, pareidolia is more when people go, oh look, there's a face in the clouds, and people go. Simulacra is like it's an old Latin sort of phrase, and it basically means it's something. And that's just so obvious. It's basically the formation of the ice,
like
just brilliantly looks
similar.
like a ghost. Yeah, similarity, similar, and it just. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant.
I think
it's brilliant.
Gorgeous.
I love beautiful.
Hug me.
I love the little dark eyes at the top.
Yeah,
Little spooky eyes at the top.
It's very
Someone said, has Hector been on holiday?
It's very pretty.
But also a little bit like the Ghost of Christmas Future, if it was black.
Yeah, someone's just asked, is Hector on his holidays? Has Hector gone on holiday?
He's a cutie.
He's behind you. Don't turn around. He's in the shadows. Brilliant.
I'd hug it.
We got another picture now. One more picture to go, and then we're on to another couple of audience stories. Just punch the microphone there blatantly. Let me see. Is it this one? It's this one. I don't like this one.
That's not.
I think because it involves animals, there's something about it. Okay, so this is a photograph that was taken in Penrith, Cumbria, England, 1994, and it's entitled "What Happened to Tinkerbell." Do some animals possess senses that we human beings have lost or apparently never had in the first place? Now we talk about that a lot, don't we? In, you know, the perception that children have that adults sometimes lose, and the perception that animals have. We have 2 cats at home, good old Rex and Ripley. They will occasionally just stop. Their entire bodies will lock up and they will stare, both of them, to a point in the living room, and not move. And we'll go, "What? What are you looking at?" And they'll both go. And you know, like a couple of occasions, Rex has like looked a bit upset and ran away. Ripley sometimes will do the whole.
No, thank you.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
No, thank you.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
No, you're all right. You're all right.
The photograph of Tinkerbell, apparently in the grip of a curious energy force. The fellow cat, Bunty, seems not to care. Bunty and Tinkerbell. When the negative and the print was sent to the Society for Psychical Research, the question was, do you think it's a trick of the camera or something paranormal happening? So far, no one has been able to answer. One photographic expert I asked has seen the red dash line effect before, but never with a distortion as appears on the cat's face. There may be a natural explanation, but we don't know of one. For taking the shot is not known, and it would be useful to discover what else is going on. For instance, what's the child on the sofa? Was the child on the sofa taunting or playing with the cats? Is there a child on the sofa? Oh, I see.
There's a pair of knees.
Knee socks.
A pair of knees on the
socks.
sofa. Yeah.
If the paranormal solution is not accepted, the alternative is rather implausible. An extraordinary coincidence of lighting and development problem on the film, exactly where Tinkerbell was tilting her head. Such a coincidence, granted, must occur, but that doesn't mean that we should leave it at that and not also accept the likelihood of an unexplainable paranormal moment having been captured on film. I think it no coincidence that cats have been associated with good and bad luck for us, and they've always been domesticated. Egyptians believed them to be sacred, even godlike. We are still not sure how these ancients built the pyramids, so perhaps there are other mysteries that they knew about cats and parallel worlds.
Big whips. Big whips. Lots of beer.
There's a closer one for you.
I think she's not upset. She looks like...
I don't know, but look at her ears. Her ears are
Yeah.
down, unless she's a fold.
I think she might have a fold, because her face looks like she's having a nice little strokey off someone.
Mrs. Deathley is our resident cat expert.
Oh, I love cats. But yes, you might be right. It could look as if... Why would a cat do that with their head unless someone was like...
Giving her a little...
I love
her
the
head.
introduction of paranormal... what was it? The parallel worlds. Because that... Yeah. I talk about... David may not know this. I subscribe to a very strange belief.
Go on.
Okay, it's a theoretical belief that I have.
Can we say it on air? Is it?
Yeah, no, it's not filthy or anything like that.
Oh, right, okay.
It's a bit weird.
I'm less interested.
It's a weird thing.
Okay.
It's a weird thing.
I'm listening, but...
So there's a lot of research and theories regarding the idea of multiverse theories, paranormal worlds, the kind of symmetry between... You know, the division of what we as an individual perceive as a reality. Oh, I'm getting academic now.
I like this. I like this already. This is nice.
I have this belief that as an individual, we may not actually experience death. So we, as an individual, have a perception of a world, of a universe, that through a kind of linear through path...
Give me 2 seconds. Wait, I've got something that they need.
Could do an entire podcast about this. Where's he gone? What's he got? What have you got?
Right.
What have you got? Oh yeah, get the pipe. Oh, lovely, lovely.
Of course.
So again, just a theory that those around us may perceive in their own realities our
Expiration
from this, from their perception of whatever this madness is. But perhaps us as individuals never do. We just somehow keep going. We perhaps, until maybe there is a sort of an end in a way. But I don't know. It's a very happy idea that I have.
I like it. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
We never pass on young. We never die accidentally. We're just going to keep on going and going and going and going and going because there is. Especially recently, there's been those recent findings, the echoes that people have found recently, the sort of resonances, the vibrations that the scientists have kind of gone, what is that? What is that? And I had this lovely idea that maybe we are on the verge of kind of going, oh my goodness me, big stuff. definitely not time for this on the Tales from the Fireplace. Maybe we'll do an entire podcast about it.
I like that. This is 2 a.m. talk.
This is 2 a.m. round the fireplace with 2 bottles of Glaver. Empty
Real
feet.
good. Real
Deep
good.
talk.
Someone else just spotted that you're wearing trousers.
No, that's paint.
Yeah, he's just painted them on.
Marmite.
He's just
Marmite.
painted them on.
5 jars.
We are heading over now to our next audience story of the night. I think we're going to be here till about 9:45. So we make it half an hour left. This is I love this. So the next 2 audience stories I share have a sort of strange coincidence within them. All Hallows Eve. This is a story from Alan Smith. Alan Smith and Lorraine have been great supporters of the Death and Dark tour since we started. They've joined me for a number of walking tours, and this is an instance that happened to Alan during one of my tours last week over Halloween, and Mrs. Deathley was with me for the week of Halloween because the groups were a bit larger, the city was a little rowdier. Did he not approach you on the night and tell you this as well? I think he did. Yeah. So these are his words. All Hallows Eve, and the city of York presents as being dark, cold, and wet. Not that such inclement weather could deter folk from attending Dorian Deathley's 8 p.m. ghost story tour. Bloody hell, Alan, well done. Dorian had told a story in the yard that is Bedern, and on we trod. So Bedern, if you don't know, is off Goodrum Gate. It's a little stone's throw from College Street near the York Minster, and takes us round towards St Andrew Gate. Alan says, with a spinal disability, I needed to pause for a few seconds to help ease the pain I was in, and I stopped in front of the apartments that were on my right. As I previously said, it was a cold night, but as I stood there hoping for the pain to ease to enable me to continue onwards, I was suddenly overwhelmed by an intense coldness that instantly seeped into my very core. And as I felt this intense level of coldness, I could see very clearly a man standing on my right. He was about shoulder height to me, and I'm 6'4". Alan is a touch taller than I am, so he'd have to be about 5'8" to 5'10". I could see his beard, and at that time I would have been able to describe him 100%, but the detailed memory is now something that eludes me. However, the one main thing I do remember is I can still see the look in his eyes as he looked at me, and had the feeling of, I don't know who was more surprised, him or me. The energy of the spirit man dissipated after 10 to 20 seconds. It left me feeling cold, but not as cold as when we had literally bumped into each other. Yeah.
That's quite a nice one.
It's great. I get it in a way, it almost lends itself to the idea of, thin fabrical tears between...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I need to be very careful here not to detour the
Put the
knife.
pipe back in.
Get the
Put the pipe back
everyone
in.
Get the pipes out and off we go. Maybe we'll do an entire podcast about this bonkers idea, because it is, in a way, it is spooky. It is almost supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
It's spooky, but it's also nice because this spirit person just turned up and went, and then wobbled off and just kind of went,
It
hello.
reminds me of the ghost story from the stonemason's yard outside the Minster. The story goes that the woman was there in the 1990s.
Yeah.
She was looking at a carving, and then a man appeared next to her and went, "Oh, hello." And apparently he looked as surprised as she did.
He said, "Do you like that? I made that one."
Yeah, I carved that. And it was almost like, for a moment, he kind of went, he sort of turned and went, "Oh, hello. Do you like that one? That's mine." And then disappeared. And the two of them were like, surprised to see each other. It's almost like something had, whew.
That's sweet though. It's nice. It's a nice one. It's got a level of spook to it, but it's not, this horrible malevolent spirit arrived and started messing with somebody, tickling their
Not
knees.
all ghost stories are horrible and terrifying.
This is one of the nice ones. I like that one.
Then there's another one that we got sent from Vaughnie Wilbers, which
Great name.
brilliant name,
Great name.
Vaughnie Wilbers.
Wilbers,
So
Vaughnie.
I came to York with my ex-partner a few years back. We'd had a falling out, so I left the B&B we were staying in and headed out to town on my own for a drink. Unfortunately, I ended up getting a little lost and somehow found myself in Bedern. This is where Alan was when he met the strange gentleman. It was summer, the night was very warm, and I stopped for a rest as my feet were sore. Before we go any further, I want to just stress that Alan and Vaughnie don't know each other. These are two completely separate emails that were sent to us. All of a sudden, I heard a sort of flip-flop noise, like someone was approaching wearing sandals. I turned and I saw a bloke who appeared to be dressed like a monk. And I couldn't stop staring at his costume. It was amazing. So authentic. Sandals, gown, belt, hair, small bag. He looked mithered as hell, rushing about. Firstly, points for the word mithered.
Very
Wonderful
good.
word.
I thought it was mine.
Mithered.
Mithered, sorry.
Mithered.
I was going for the Yorkshire version there. Mithered. I did. He stopped near the bench and then hurried off again. And it never occurred to me that it wasn't anything more than a bloke in a fancy dress. I love that.
That's good, that.
I love the
Yeah. So actually, Vaughnie messaged the Facebook page, and because she'd been on the ghost tour a few days previous, and she said, "Can I ask you a weird question?" And I said, "Obviously, go for it." And she said, "Has anybody ever reported seeing a monk or a man in Bedern?" And I was like,
there it is.
"Tell me more before I say yes. Tell me more." Yeah.
That's good, that.
So Bedern's an interesting one. So yeah, if you don't know, if you're coming down Gudrun Gate, you've got the Little Caesars, the restaurant?
Yeah.
And then there's a little archway there. One of my favourite. Firstly, it's a great stop for me because we don't know there's without spoiling it. There's a wonderful window that I revealed during my tour.
The best window on the tour.
Best window of the tour, quite frankly. Also, almost every tour I run, there is a giant, big, fat pigeon up in the Philip is there, and I will catch him with my torch. And when I catch him with my torch, he goes.
He bigs himself.
It properly goes. Hey, goes all chest
About
comes out,
that
and he's like, "Come on, then." And
He flexes.
and of course, they have this running joke that I am, I'm terrified of pigeons. Like this thing, pigeons are my mortal enemy. And it's just brilliant. Oh my god! And people will kind of clock him and go, "Oh Jesus! Oh bloody hell! There's a ghostly pigeon." But we were on there one night, and we so obviously I stand with my back to Bartlegarth, etc. And I was doing my story of the industrial ragged schools of York, the whole thing about George Pym. And suddenly, a small portion of the audience started going, "Oh, oh, oh." I said, what? And everyone was looking above my head. And I turned round, and in one of the windows was a man in a very high-necked, pale, sort of tunic-looking costume. Very strange. Didn't move. It might have been you, actually. But like no
collar,
no
just
collar,
sort of-
just kind of that ragged, loose, almost almost like a template of a shirt in a way. Not moving. Shock of white hair, impossibly pale, and it was just staring down at us. And I kind of made a few jokes about it. And then suddenly a woman in front of me audibly went, oh God. And I went, what? And she said, he's just not there anymore. And I said, what do you mean he's not there anymore? And she said, I've been looking at him all the way through your story, and just suddenly, he just wasn't there anymore.
No.
And do you want to know something even further and even stranger?
No.
No, you're going to have it anyway. A couple of nights later, I did a tour, and I walked through, and I looked up to where I thought the window was.
Oh.
There wasn't a window there.
No.
Now,
No.
either a string of very odd coincidences, a string of thoughts, but yeah, very, very odd.
Don't like that.
Very odd.
Don't
Very
like
odd.
that at all.
We're going to give you a very brief update to Helen Hunt. We were on that tour. Brilliant. It was such a great night. It was such a wonderful night. It's so odd. So now my turn for a personal, particular story now, and I'll keep this brief because I don't want to run over too long tonight. We went to 30 East Drive in December 13th last year, and it was a very strange evening, a very wonderful evening. And if you've been following the Deathly Dark tours, you'll know that at the end of the night, after we did two live streams, about 3 or 4 hours long in total. The first one we did the history of the house. The second one we did a few first toe dipping into paranormal explorations, investigations with a little bit more science attached. So we had the strange incident with the EMF readers going absolutely wild on the beds. Then at the end of the night, I was walking around and taking some photographs for social media, etc. And you took a photograph of me at the bottom of the stairs wearing a trilby that I'd found. Kind of, if you find, because the law of the world is if you find a hat, you've got to put the hat on.
You must.
You must put the hat on.
You must.
You must put the hat on. And as you took the photograph, as the sort of flash filled my eyes and died down, I sort of glanced up the staircase and I saw a hand, sort of like this, and it was a shadow, and it just very slowly sort of went up, and I dragged myself up the stairs to go and investigate.
Can I just say, the face you pulled?
Yes.
When the flash went off, your expression. Am I on camera?
You are.
Your expression just went from to,
I
and I was like,
this.
"What?
No.
What?
It was
what?"
so odd. It was so
This
odd.
is one of the only ghost stories that I've ever heard that has properly given me a
And
chill.
I'm
this.
the chap. One day you'll be able to just walk past a fez. There's definitely a fez in here somewhere.
I think it's 2.
You won't believe it.
Yes.
You're never too far from a fez, ladies and gentlemen.
It's like rats. You're
It's a
never more
tiny
than
fez.
6 feet away from a
It's
fez.
a very tiny fez, so it's sort of now perched very dramatically on my head. What else is hiding down here below the pant line? That's all I need to know. But no, there's a very strange moment, and I went upstairs and I had a little bit of an investigation, and I couldn't find anything very strange. But we emailed Bill Bungie, who owns the house. He's the producer of the film, when the lights went out, and. He didn't get back to us. It was, for a while, I think January, February time, he emailed you back and says, "Oh, Mr. Deathley, I'm very sorry, they've been very busy, etc., etc." The hand, very interesting, and apparently I'm not the only one. A couple of dozen people have seen the hand on the stairs, and I had no idea. Wonderful. It's time for another photograph. Let's rally forth. I think this is our last one of the night. Actually, this is a photograph entitled "A Ghostly Dinner Intruder."
Oh, come on.
So,
Oh,
He sees it.
look at
he's
why.
seen it right away.
I mean, put on a shirt.
I know. Get your chebs out, mate.
He's got his yayas out and he's
Sent
just awful.
Mary's Guildhall, Coventry, England, 22nd of January, 1985. And it said, "I would expect St Mary's Guildhall in Coventry to be haunted. Built in the 14th century, it was present to the doomed Mary, Queen of Scots, and was Henry VI's Lancastrian headquarters during the War of the Roses. Times of famine, its kitchens fed starving weavers, and then there is the mystery of the extraordinary survival during Coventry's terrible bomb bullets in World War II. Did the Guildhall have some terrible supernatural protection?" This photograph of a Coventry freeman's dinner, there definitely seems to be a curious figure dominating the top left hand of the table with a white hood and its face hidden in shadow. The figure is large and appears slightly apart from the other diners at the table, allowing for the effects of the lighting. The mysterious figure is... I need to know what's going on over there. I'm going to find out in a little moment. There's obvious carnage happening over at the children's table. Even
Sorry,
allowing
Dad.
for the effects of lighting, the mysterious figure appears to be wearing clothing from another era. Lord Mayor Walter Brandish, good name again. Good name.
Excellent name.
Was convinced there was no one there who was dressed like that instigated a further investigation. No one seems to have seen or owned up to the unknown intruder. Now, look again. Is there an intruder? The diners are saying grace with their heads bowed low, and they are sitting down. It would be easy not to notice someone who perhaps came in the wrong door. Stood still for grace, then dashed away. However, count the glasses. Oh, that's a stretch, isn't it? That's a lot of effort there. Count the glasses and you'll see there is the same number of the guests, including the mystery diner. But where is the chair? All the other diners on the table are standing behind their own chair. Bam. What do we think of this?
Well, we
have a
think
few ideas.
I personally, and I don't know if you will agree with me on this, Mrs. D, that is a naked goblin-headed creature holding his gentleman.
Wow. Let's go a little closer.
And
Is there the presence of a supernatural Todger?
possibly
Because
he has Krusty the Clown hair.
oh, I
And has a
hate
gas
that.
mask fused onto his face.
I hate the hair idea. I hate that.
That's a barrel chest right there. That's a barrel chest. I have a barrel chest. I have the large chest bone, which was considered very sexually attractive in the 1990s. Just so you know, in the time of Hasselhoff, I would have been, fair game.
Yeah, he's got this guy's got like chapel hat pegs.
He's a big lad.
I just
He is, as the
hate
kids
it.
say today, a chunky boy.
He is an absolute unit. I hate him. I hate him.
He's-
I don't know who you are, spooky man, but I hate
He is awful.
Oh, absolutely despicable.
But there's someone there. That is somebody just stood
On the table.
on the table with the worst face in the world.
What are we feeling?
Nope.
Are we feeling
Yeah, it's a massive nope from me.
Nope.
I don't know what that is.
Brimming over with
We've got
nopeability.
Nope's here. I'm getting up for a bit of this.
Oh,
Paranope.
Yeah.
please
Something Savile-esque about
I
it.
don't know. There's something about it that just doesn't sit right with me. I'm going to go back to the wider angle of the photograph. There's something about it. I don't know. There's something there that just doesn't. I don't know.
Definitely clasping
Firstly,
I don't think I know what I do.
Firstly, okay, the date of the photograph is 1985. What were they using? Were they taking photographs with a potato? What is that? I mean, do you know what I mean? That
Well,
there.
I mean, if it's inside, maybe they've got a too slow a film for the room or something. Not too slow a film. Maybe it's just a really grainy, high speed film, is what I mean. Yeah, because it's quite
Or
grainy.
it could be a picture from a newspaper.
Yes.
Clipping.
Quick side note: Helen Oakley said, "Please do another walk around York." The last one. When's the York one this week? So we're doing loads of events this week. We're doing Deathly FM. If you go on our Facebook page and click on events, you'll basically see everything we've got coming up. We're doing a spur of the moment. I think we're doing quite a late night one. It's sort of 9:45. I think it'll either be Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday.
That's bedtime.
Or Sunday.
On a school night.
It'll be Sunday, I'd imagine. I think it'll be Sunday. I think Wednesday night is Deathly FM.
We're doing a wall walk.
Wall walk is over the weekend. It's a daytime one, and then we're doing the. We should probably have these at hand, but yeah, there's more. There's loads happening. Someone said it definitely looks like it would be more 20s. It's very poor quality. Yeah, this is very, very, very poor quality photograph for the. I love this. I love that there are people in the chat that know the wall walk is on Friday. The late night ghost tour is 9:45 on Sunday, and of course they'll be up. You don't have to watch them at 9:45. You can join us later on and such. And
That late night Sunday was probably a very poor
Andrew
thing to do on
Digwood,
our part.
he looks very solid, doesn't he?
Very solid.
Very
solid.
Very solid.
He looks like he's having a wee into a sherry glass.
Oh,
He's having a crafty slash whilst everyone else is.
I mean, I can't see that, but you know, the mind wants what it wants.
That's why
Now
there's a glass.
He's like, I've been sat down in this room for 4 hours. I'm going to take advantage of this.
Really tired. I'm just going to check it in a moment.
I'm going to take off my shirt and my trousers.
We've all got a jug in the bedroom, haven't we? When it's the bathroom's a long way away. Just
Yeah.
just me.
8 pinter milk bottle outside the wardrobe under the flyover. Well, I'm under the flyover, so I just open the wardrobe door and
Away we go.
commune with nature.
Needs must. That's such weirdly that's brought us to an hour and a half, 9:30. We've reached the end of our content. Unless there's anything else you two would like to.
I could perform a striptease or an erotic dance.
Guess the votes in, I suppose.
There's not much to take off though, to be fair, because you're already wearing no trousers.
And my shirt and waistcoat are both also painted on.
Yeah, weirdly the same. I've got underneath the actual shirt and waistcoat. I just have a waistcoat and a shirt painted in place.
Because you can't
tattooed, in fact.
You can't tell watching, but it's swelteringly hot. It's 49 degrees Celsius in this room. So clothing is a physical impossibility.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? For Yorkshire weather, it's currently 48 degrees Celsius in here. It's very strange. Sweating profusely, violently, in fact. All right, okay, so brilliant. Thank you for joining us. Mrs. Deathly's face when you said piddle in the jug. Apparently, you did not look impressed with the situation. It's upstairs, it's 4 floors up. It's a long way to go. I'm just going to rally forth through our various bits and pieces then. So, if you've enjoyed tonight, the tip jar is open, but if you want it, that's great, cool, whatever. We'll share it out between us and buy ourselves various Yorkshire puddings. And
Sometimes I wee in it.
What, the tip jar?
When desperate.
The digital chip. It's difficult to say that. The digital chip. It's difficult, isn't it?
I'm not going to try.
The digital
My
tip
fat
jar.
Welsh lips can't get around it.
Digital tip jar. Yes, well, yeah, if you want to, that's fine. But more than that, what we need is the votes. We really need the votes behind you, and we're going to be mentioning these on every live stream that we do over the next week, and we're doing at least 3 this week, isn't it? There's the return of Deathly FM.
So busy.
Wednesday night, we're going to be bringing our radio show back.
Decorating a room in our house and going on holiday.
Yes, there's a lot going on.
Just going on your Ollie Bobs.
We're going on Ollie Bobs.
On your Ollie Bobs.
I'm going to mention what's happening there in a while. So over the next week, we are doing Deathly FM on Wednesday night, which will be after my walking tour. About 10 o'clock, we'll be going live with so it's a radio show. Basically, it's a late night radio. It's like a very naughty late night pirate radio show. If you want to find the event for that, you can get in there and leave us requests. If you want requests, dedications, tracks,
It's raining men.
get in there. It's raining hens. On Friday, we're doing the Walls Walk. I think it's around early afternoonish. We'll be doing like a 2-hour live tour as we walk around the city walls, and I'll be sharing with you various nonsense. And then Sunday night, we're doing a late night ghost tour, 9:45, beamed into the Tinternets. And then on Monday, Mrs. Deathley and I are going away on a very much needed holiday. But it is the last week of voting for the Visit England Awards. So, breaking news. David will be taking over our social media for a week and a half.
Oh, God, it's going to get so Welsh up in here.
He will be... will you be back in Edinburgh by then? You will be, won't you?
Possibly.
Possibly. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter where. So
it's just going to be Tom Jones videos.
You'll just...
just Tom Jones off YouTube. That's all it's going to be.
Or you're going to share the links, or you're going to live stream you watching them?
No, I mean, it's just going to be Tom Jones.
Just that.
I haven't revealed this, but Sir Tom Jones will be performing live constantly.
Someone said no tour on the 16th of March. No, that's true. We will be in somewhere... Quite frankly, we're going to be in somewhere very warm and very quiet.
Yes, we can't do tours every week.
We are
in the Deathly family caravan in Grimsby.
Tired. We're very there's tired, and then there is exhausted, and then there is where Mrs. Deathley and I are currently positioned after 2 years of COVID, launching a tourism company during a pandemic, running endless, ceaseless virtual tours, walking tours, physical tours, private hires, radio shows, moving house,
fishing David out of the river several times,
resuscitating him when he's got a bit leery on a Wednesday night.
You can't see the brooms that are currently holding them both up. They're both just, there's just a broomstick just here.
Just, suspended by a matrix of matchsticks and gaffer.
Incredible.
And also, if you want more of this, and you don't already, please do join us on Patreon. On Patreon, I'm probably one of the hardest working patrons.
Hardest working man on Patreon.
Yeah, they'll take
what you are.
That's what I am. We tend to do 4 to 5 posts a week, and they're not little posts. I do short stories. I do ghostly stories. I do explorations. We do bespoke live explorations on Patreon. I'm currently the sort of 6th, maybe 3/4 of the way through Dracula. It's a very long book, and all the old tours are up there as well. The best way to support us on there. And finally, the Kickstarter. If you want a copy of the hardback Deathly Dark Tales of York, you have until 12 noon tomorrow, and that's it. And I'm
British UK time. 12 noon UK
so you have, I would say, about 14 and a half hours left.
Yep.
Once that Kickstarter is over, you cannot get a copy of the first edition of the book any other way. It's as simple as that. Normally in the past, when we've done things, we've kind of allowed a bit of leeway and kind of gone, What tends to happen is that we will announce a deadline for things, and then a great number of people will adhere to those deadlines. But then after the deadline, about 4 or 5 hours later, a few people will go, "Oh, I didn't realise it was ending today," and then we'll go, "It's okay, it's fine." That's it. If I have 276 pre-orders for the book come noon tomorrow, that's how many orders of the book I'll be placing.
And you do want one. You all want one.
You do want one. I'm just going to have a very quick cheeky peek, actually, to see where it's at.
Have a little shufty.
So it's currently at 277 copies, with 14 hours to go. So if you want it, go get it, because if you don't go gets it, you ain't gonna gets it. Yeah. There was a smooth ending to it all. Anything else from you two? You pair of wonderful humans.
And I just want to point out that Holly Thackeray just said they are massive and much appreciated. Thanks, Holly.
Yes, they are.
What are we talking about here?
I don't know.
Definitely not broadcastable. Not broadcastable at all.
One of the final things. I had a meeting with a local radio station in York recently about perhaps joining them on air. And I just don't think we'd be allowed. I think we'd last one show, and then be like, "I'm sorry, you're very strange. You're very, very strange."
My midnight tours get a little blue, and of course they're not advertised anywhere.
No, they're just literally anyone happens to be passing by.
If you're passing by,
you leap on them like a feral beast.
A trouserless Welsh man, and ask what's going on. The tour simply begins.
Off it goes.
It just starts. The first person who rocks up.
Yeah. If you happen, you're one. If you've lucked out.
You've lucked out.
If you happen to be going down Nidri Street at the right time.
If you're down Nidri Street and I'm there reeking of chartreuse,
Pants off.
it begins.
Boom.
I'll hand you a paper bag. You can do what you like with it.
And of course, 21st of March?
21st of March.
Your tour. You'll be doing, I mean, you better be in Edinburgh by then, because you're supposed to be doing a haunted tour of Edinburgh.
We'll do a nasty, nasty tour.
I'd just say, wherever you are in the country, do a tour of
I'll do a haunted, wherever I happen to be.
Wherever you are.
I could be anywhere.
Oh, no, I'm in Filey.
Turns
Welcome
out.
to the haunted tour of Filey.
Welcome,
10 minutes long.
Welcome to the
Great.
David Deathley haunted tour of Melton Mowbray. Links.
Shall we go?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yes.
Well, friends, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a brilliant evening. Hopefully,
Vote Deathly.
Vote
Deathly.
Vote
Superstar.
Deathly. Tourism
Vote
Superstar
Deathly.
2020. Let's get it back into York. Let's have it.
The pinned
Have
post
it.
will see you.
If you're looking for any links, if you click on the information for this video, you will find the link to the Kickstarter, to the everything, to all of it, to everything you could possibly, everything your heart desires. You'll find it there. Steve Sherry said, liking the three-way. Same.
I'm having a horrible time.
I've had a wonderful. It's been a great. I've
been sitting on a
always
pin.
Wanted to try a threesome in my life, and I've done it now, and I can say it was well worth the effort. Well worth it. Good night, everyone.
You've gone.
You've gone.
Have I?